revolutionary action centers around two concepts, Roger Scruton says. The attributes of the new order justify the pursuit of it: liberation and social justice. These correspond roughly to the liberty and equality advocated at the French Revolution. It means emancipation from the structures and institutions, customs.
What's up, guys and gals? Hopefully you guys can hear me. Everything's good. I'm going to be looking through some mods for XCOM2. And yeah, I'm inviting you to help me pick them out. And probably form a text or something, text doc, and just send it to myself on my other computer. Because I'm capturing from my stream computer, so I don't obviously download my games onto it. Because it's not the gaming PC. Media PC does not have all the same hardware components that produce a good gameplay experience. But the media side is good enough. Anyways, yeah. Without further ado, I'm listening to an awesome lecture on culture and Christianity.
Conventions that have shaped the bourgeoisie order and which
Test.
established a shared system of norms and values at the heart of Western society. Much of their literature is devoted to deconstructing such institutions as the family, the school, law, and the nation state through which the inheritance of Western civilization has been passed down to us. What most of us see then as the normal, necessary structure of society and social order, these thinkers that he's talking about regard them as structures of domination that must be subverted and destroyed. This is not just in the modern art galleries, in the journals of philosophers, or in academic libraries. This is right now in the classroom of our youngest children in this country. What Christians are actually facing today is a desire for a clean sweep of history. It's systematic unbelief. It's always motivated revolutionaries to overturn it. And as such, what's happened is fraudulent and unintelligible theories of language, identity, and social order are passed off in our culture now as the key to renewal, to liberation, to justice within society. What's the basic idea of it? Well, the basic idea is that meaning is no longer something that is transcendent. Remember yesterday I talked about the fact that in the Christian view of reality, creation is meaning. You don't give it a meaning, you don't lend it a meaning. It's a process of discovery. You discover the meaning that's already there by virtue of creation. That's totally denied. There is no meaning that transcends human signification, human language, our perceptions and our customs. Nothing transcends those things. Don't look for objective meaning, says Scruton, in the use of the language. That would presuppose a reality that has a kind of givenness to it. There is no givenness to reality in this world view. The meaning is the use. That is, however I use the language, that is the meaning.
Awesome.
A subversion of established meaning. There is no ontologically real anything. For them, that's a Christian conspiracy.
Too deep. He's talking about I can't follow along if I'm reading. Amazing stuff. So true. Okay. Mods, evac all by track 2. All your soldiers to evac point having to go through a long roping out animation with each and every one of them is tedious to the point of torture. Evac all. That's a handy little button that makes every unit in the evac zone rope at the same time. Grimey's Loot mod. Additions that give weapon holders special perks and abilities, as well as hundreds of new stat boosting add-ons. This is perfect for keeping the sense of risk and reward going in the late game when intel and supply start to feel redundant. The sheer number of things getting added is astounding. 96 new upgrades for weapons, 81 new upgrades for armor. Grimey has also made a PCS loot mod that works alongside this and makes the Skulljack useful throughout the game, as well as an alien rulers loot mod that requires. Yeah, you know what? I might save this for another day. Elerium Grounds by Jan. In the mid to late game, Elerium cores are as rare as bitcoins. The proving ground can sit idle for months at a time if you're unlucky. Without fresh cores, you'll fall behind on special armors, heavy weapons, experimental ammo grenades. Elerium Grounds lets you, once you've completed the prerequisite research, build Elerium cores. Also allows you to upgrade the Spider and Exosuits, keeping them as valid armor options for the late game. However, you want both parts of the mod are downloadable separately. While it will show a small warning symbol when it loaded with WTC, it can be played without any issues. I wouldn't want to make my own cores. I think that's kind of cheesy. I would definitely want to make that awesome armor useful later. So, Long War 2 by Pavonis Interactive. The famous Long War mod returned alongside the launch of the workshop for XCOM2. Officially sanctioned by Firaxis themselves, Pavonis Interactive have essentially included an overhauled DLC for free. Long War 2 consists of a longer campaign, new classes with unique abilities and mechanics, new infiltration systems that require sending out multiple squads, strategic event, advent AI, SMG weapons, and new enemies. That. New classes have more customization options, with a third option available at every rank, which can be downloaded separately as the Long War perk pack. My personal favorite part of the Long War mod are the leaders. Units can be trained in the Guerrilla Training School to get special abilities that benefit the squad. However, only one leader can be taken on each mission, so you have to be careful who you lay the burden on. Oh, that sounds neat. If you want to breathe new life into vanilla, this is the most important mod for you. Pavonis Interactive's Long War mod for Enemy Unknown was fantastic, and so is this. XCOM2 War the Chosen mods, RPG overhaul. Like Long War 2, the RPG overhaul completely changes how the game works. Instead of having a bunch of different classes, units are instead put into the soldier class, and you're able to choose their abilities. For a total of 98 unique abilities, using the ability points introduced in WOTC, you can even upgrade things like health, dodge, aim, and will, with lots of other little tweaks like soldiers being able to use any combination of primary and secondary weapons, equipping secondary weapons as primaries, and introduced a new rank above Colonel. Musashi's RPG pack is great for drastically changing the game. Musashi recommends that you play with a selection of other mods that are included on the mod page. Well, thank you. I'll take that into consideration. Avengers menu. Whoosh. Oh, wait. I forgot to put something in resistance ring. Whoosh, whoosh. Darn it. Bond available. Whoosh, whoosh. Research complete. Whoosh. The idea going back and forth between rooms and then geoscape can be like pulling teeth when you're trying to get something done quick. Removes the transition animations. Just lets you get down to business to defeat the aliens. Captain Bub's accessories pack. Vanilla version available. I like making my soldiers look unique. Who doesn't? While the vanilla options are alright, Captain Bub's pack makes it much better with loads of helmets, hats, goggles, and face props. And while the Halo Star Wars customization mods are great, Captain Bub's keeps to the feel and does a great job of blending seamlessly with the rest of the game. Sure. A better advent. Many mod enthusiasts will know it's easy to download a bunch of mods and then forget exactly what you've installed. I didn't actually realize that the plethora of new units that a better advent added were from a mod, as they fit with the game's progression so seamlessly, and that means it works perfectly. While none of the unit's ABA adds are overpowered, their abilities can be devastating. The Stun Lancer is a particular bane of mine, as the low-level melee unit can potentially knock soldiers unconscious with his cattle prod sword. Look into it. Oh, whoops. True Concealment by Kragano. XCOM 2's big gameplay changer was the concealment mechanic, where you could move around unseen and get the drop on the enemy. The only issue with this was that the timer mission still ticked down even when it didn't make sense. Concealment fixes that issue by pausing the timer until you're revealed. Okay, nice. Giving you much more control over how you approach these missions. Oh, I suppose these are the chosen mods. Shen's Last Gift mod. Mechatronic Warfare pack by Not So Lone Wolf. The Spark is perhaps one of the most useless units in XCOM 2. Costing 2 Elerium cores and a load of resources to build, and with its focus on being a tank, the Spark can easily end up on the scrap heap in its first shootout. Mechatronic Warfare pack greatly improves Spark's utility by combining the Spark and squad armor and weapon upgrades, reducing the overall cost of the Spark. Upgrading the Specialist Gremlin and the Spark Bit at the same time, giving you the ability to rebuild destroyed Sparks. You know the whole benefit of having robotic soldiers, as well as changing the repair bay equipment slots and ability points for Spark. I basically ignored the Spark even after having paid for the DLC to get it, but with this mod, they're actually awesome. So many. It's like overwhelming, honestly. Well, my mods from Vanilla XCOM 2 work in WOTC. Compatibility to worksheet. WOTC, LW2, and Vanilla. Porting. Will they work? Porting WOTC mods to Vanilla. As long as the mod isn't used anything that was added or significantly changed in WOTC, then it should be possible to convert just about anything. All we really need to do is build the mod using the vanilla SDK. Easier said than done. Some mods might actually compile with no changes, but most mods will throw errors. Even if the mod compiles, it might not work quite the same. Depending on what the mod does. To fix the errors and do the actual conversion, you need to compare the vanilla and WOTC code and find what's changed and change the code to match. If you've never done an XCOM 2 mod, you're probably in for an uphill battle. All you really need to do is build the mod using the vanilla. That requires rebuilding the mod from scratch. The vanilla SDK, fair enough, but OP mentions soldier customization mods, which are basically 95% assets. Mod compatibility worksheet. I like that. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen mods not showing up in vanilla. Hey everyone, so I just got my hands on War of the Chosen. I'm very excited to try it, but I want to throw a few mods on there first. Problem is none of them seem to be showing up. No, I had the outdated version of ALM, whatever that is, or I ended a ton of mods for vanilla XCOM 2. So there may have been some problems there, but I went through, cleared out, unsubscribed to old mods. I wanted a clean start. Anyways, downloaded the latest ALM and still getting no luck. I've actually been trying the vanilla launcher first, and they're still not showing up. I have no idea why. Fresh install for both base game and WOTC, by the way. Any insights as to what has happened? Fine. It appears Steam's Workshop isn't downloading mods at all. Any reason for this? I feel like Steam Workshop has more mods than the Nexus for this particular game. Standard advice for this kind of situation: restart your computer, delete Steam, download cache, unsubscribe, resubscribe to mods, reinstall the game. This is a well-known issue with Steam Workshop mods that affect numerous games. I don't think there's any advice specific to XCOM 2 that can be given to you. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I have this delicious, very cold tater. I think this compatibility chart is probably going to be my best bet. What I don't want to happen is download a bunch of mods and then find out they're just crashing my game. And I don't want to start with War of the Chosen because I heard. Here, let's just look. Okay. War of the Chosen. No experience needed. Is this an ad or this ad will end? Okay. Expansion was released on 29 August 2017 for Windows, 12 September 2017 for Xbox. Great. That's cool. Awesome!
Supposed to be here.
Like someone told me it doesn't. It's just you replay the campaign with like a few new characters.
If only you knew the truth.
Like, who wants to just replay the campaign with like the same thing? But a Halo Reach sword.
There were 3 resistance groups that we consider a legitimate threat to Advent. Together, they'd make one hell of a fighting force. Too bad they hate each other.
So, you do exist.
They were sent here to purge the lost.
You are safe here.
Zombies? Well. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's like so crazy. It's like doesn't even explain anything. It's just cinematic after cinematic. New factions and heroes. 3 additional factions have emerged to strengthen Earth's resistance: Reapers, Skirmishers, Templars, each with its own unique abilities, contrasts, and philosophies. These factions provide powerful hero class soldiers to aid in missions and new opportunities for the strategy layer. Okay, so maybe I'll play through the campaign and then play through Long War with War of the Chosen on. Get out of here. Video. Chosen are the most cunning enemies XCOM has ever faced. Unique with each with unique strengths and weaknesses. Will be introduced with the new campaign. Chosen are on the hunt for the commander and will kidnap, interrogate, and kill XCOM soldiers to complete their objective. Chosen can also invade new alienated event threats. Lost for one new environments and mission objectives. Engage in tactical missions across new environments from abandoned cities. Devastated by alien bioweapons during the original invasion. Tunnels. Enthralling, man. Strategy layer. Manage XCOM's relations with factions and counter chosen operations. The Avenger, employ new resistance. Greater customization, replayability. Soldiers can develop bonds with compatible teammates for new. Oh, that's cool. Make sure every mission provides a unique challenge. Utilize the perfect strategy. Share the resistance. Okay. One person. Interesting. Do you prefer? Okay. No. How do you beat XCOM 2? Being smashed in War of the Chosen. Is XCOM the same as XCOM 2? Okay, so I've been playing XCOM 2 for a while now. In WOTC. I read somewhere that I should skip XCOM 2 being interested in the story. I'm not exactly confident that I should do that, and I'm not exactly sure what WOTC is about. Is it XCOM 2 but advanced, or does it have its own story? Should I play it now or after I'm done with XCOM 2 things? WOTC is expansion that adds so much it might as well be XCOM 2.5. The story is the same, but adds much more lore, some new missions, 3 factions, the story behind them, Lost, and of course the Chosen themselves. All of that adds so much depth to the game. It's really worth the buy. As for if you want to buy it now or after you first run, that's up to you. Either way, it's worth playing. Could have given a better opinion there, guy. I would have advised playing through XCOM 2 first if you're enjoying it. Well, W2 OTC is the same game with a whole stack of extra crap squeezed into it. OTC experience is awesome, but I think I would have been a bit overwhelmed by all the mechanics if I hadn't played the first game. It's up to you. You definitely won't spoil your WOTC experience by finishing your base game playthrough. I personally think you'll find WOTC experience more enjoyable after you play the first game. Expansion is a second run might breathe new life into the game world in terms of lore. I think the world is a lot more immersive in WOTC. There are just more entities populating it. However, the actual story missions do not change. I can say pretty firmly that playing the base game will not diminish the gameplay value of WOTC. You could reply and just say like, yeah, but what about this? Because what I want to know is, could you just play WOTC? I mean, if the story's not changing, you know what I mean? Could you just play it over top of... Maybe I'll log into Steam and just ask that question. War of the Chosen doesn't fix XCOM 2's biggest problem. War of the Chosen is a new massive expansion of XCOM 2. Can I just close this? I got an idea. Boop. Oh, wow. Okay. Overhaul the base game, their traditional expansion. That's to be expected. After all, this is what developer Firaxis has been doing for some time now. The same could be said for the Civ Games expansion. Boy, does War of the Chosen add a lot to the game. Let's run over just a few items. 3 new factions with playable soldiers, Reaper skirmishers, new chosen Uber aliens, plus a number of new regular enemy units. New bond system, fatigue system. That's cool. A really helpful target preview that allows you to see what your potential move has in store. New zombie enemies called the Lost, who you take on in swarms. So much more, I'm not going to list it all here. So if I say with all this new content and then quite a bit more that I haven't listed, the game is deeper and more tactical than ever. New characters add missions, and missions add both the story and strategy. In other words, this is a great time to dust off XCOM 2 or pick it up for the first time. Then again, if you're new to these games, War of the Chosen is not an easy jumping off point at all. Indeed, I'd recommend you start with XCOM rather than the sequel in general, only because the game is so much less stressful. That's one area where I wish the War of the Chosen had done more to change. I know the hardcore players may give me grief over this, but there are times in XCOM 2 Vanilla and WOTC that I stop having fun, just feel overwhelmed. Little things really impact my enjoyment in big ways, like the need to go pick up supply drops. Sometimes you're trying to just gather some intel or supplies, and 5 of their notifications bombard you on top of research being completed, facility being built. Suddenly you have 3 different missions that are all top priority that you can't ignore, plus dark events going off, and the main story mission drawing closer. Your best troops are wounded now, how the other half are fatigued. It's just too much. Maybe I'm a filthy casual. Good. Maybe I just don't have the time and patience to juggle all this at once. But while I was absolutely addicted to the first game's expansion, I'm much less fond of the sequel for exactly this reason. Doesn't help that the missions have sudden sharp difficulty spikes either, and that when you're in Iron Man mode, which allows you just one autosave point, you can easily find yourself in an almost unwinnable situation. Because I just never liked how hectic XCOM 2 was compared to its predecessors. And I feel maybe even a little. I've been playing this at the same time as Mario and Rabbids. What I love about the game's contrast to this is how low stress it is. Actually, I think I'd be happy with a middle ground of some sort. Well, that was an interesting take. I guess the big fix he was looking for was just an easier game. Yes, seriously. Yeah, you know what? Okay. This mode here. Second. Want to make sure. Come to. There you go. Or okay, that's a good form to put that. I played WOTC, Long War 2 with mods before. Okay. Quick gander. All right. Oh, I got a message. So here's my new discussion. Should I play War of the Chosen Long War 2 with mods before I even finish XCOM 2 vanilla? Hey gang. I played XCOM UFO Defense, TFTD, half of Apocalypse, XCOM Unknown, awful expansion pack, which was the same thing as the first game. The big question. I really love this game. And managing the soldiers, research, development, etc. We all know time is a finite commodity, precious one. That. And although Long War is obviously long, I don't mind whittling away at it. But I'm reluctant to play through the 20+ hour vanilla campaign, then the WOTC expansion campaign, then a long war Iron Man with mods. Brings, I'll make that a, this brings me to the big question for all you fans. Is WOTC so drastic a change that the campaign story of vanilla is completely different? What am I trying to say here? How come no one's watching this? This is so cool. Help me pick out mods for XCOM 2. Donuts here. Just a couple though. Hmm. I even played the bureau. The boot oil. WOTC so drastic a change that the campaign story of vanilla is completely different and I'll be missing a lot. Or is it just a giant add-on with a deeper story that adds to the vanilla? this and lost all that, right. Okay, here we go. Should I play War of the Chosen, Long War 2 with mods before I even finish XCOM 2 Vanilla? Hey gang, I played XCOM UFO Defense, TFTD, Half of Apocalypse, XCOM Enemy Unknown, and the Awful Expansion Pack, which was the same thing as the first game with a couple tweaks. I even played the Bureau, Ghost of Shara with a scouring pad and bleach. I really love this game. Edit, you fool. I really love this game and managing the soldiers, research, development, etc. We all know time is a finite commodity, a precious one at that, and although Long War is obviously long, I don't mind whittling away at it. But I'm reluctant to play through the 20-hour vanilla campaign, then the War of the Chosen expansion campaign, then a Long War Iron Man campaign with mods. This brings me to the big question for all you fans. Is War of the Chosen so drastic a change that the campaign story of vanilla is completely different and I'll be missing a lot? Or is it just a giant add-on with a deeper story that adds to the vanilla story? I'm reading that although there's lots of interesting additions, it really just serves to flesh out and expand on the lore the vanilla is telling. If it's just a replay of vanilla with more depth, cool, I can start there. If it's totally different, addition there. It's just a replay of vanilla with more depth, additional cutscenes, and cinematics while retaining all the vanilla ones and playing them also. Cool, I can start there. Regarding that in Long War, because it's drawn out, are the cutscene cinematics delivered to the player less frequently with more time in between? Totally different, and the lost zombie hordes and other new enemies replace all the enemies of vanilla. Maybe I should play the original campaign first. So ask these questions because there's so many mods and not all are backwards, forwards compatible, although I found a compatibility chart on Reddit. Also, with the factions, do you have to choose one and get stuck with it? Or can you recruit from them all? Also, am I able to save and play the original campaign separately as I play through the WOTC Long War Iron Man campaign on a different save file? Ask because I'm going to have friends over to play this as a virtual board game where we each have our customized character to move around the board. And if it's really fun, we may keep playing that. I'd obviously need to have a separate save file for this. on this note, maybe it'd be fun to include the RPG mods and the like so people can really get into their character. Thoughts? And help. Cool. Okay, let's go back here. Cosmetics work. Since I haven't gotten an answer from the LW2 forum, I'd at least like this answered. Like paints for characters, armor, or the ship. Or helmet X from Game Show Movie Y. Why wouldn't they? Cosmetics, music packs, and voice packs are mostly unbreakable and different to other mods. Whatever works for WTC Vanilla should work for Long War. Using Long War 2 and not W Long War of the Chosen, make sure you only get cosmetics for the base game, not WOTC. Yes, cosmetics work for Long War 2, but only cosmetics from XCOM 2, not WOTC. As long as the cosmetic mods in question work with vanilla XCOM 2, yes, they should work. Well, let's go look at this. What's this guy? Mod compatibility worksheet for WOTC, Long War 2, and vanilla. Hold that thought, Greek gang. I'll be right back. To me. Washed my hands, guys. Don't worry. I'm not a savage. Text my buddy. Right, back to the task at hand. This is a big endeavor, guys. Big endeavor. Cosmetics will work. Extending gameplay. Announcements. Won't be what? Based on the outcome of some discussion with 2K, we're announcing today that we won't be working on updating for Long War 2 for the War of the Chosen expansion. While we're disappointed that our fans that we won't be able to continue work on the mod, this does free our team focus full efforts on our original title, Terra Invicta, which is now in production. I'd like to thank Firaxis. Okay. For most intents and purposes, consider the project dead. Chris is working on the weapons pack and using a great deal of class design for his Liberators pack. And I'm seeing how feasible it is to get the alien pack out. Well, the Long War of the Chosen project is, for all intents and purposes, dead due to issues IRL in real life. The attempt to get the alien pack, possibly a couple others, made is being made. However, best of luck to anyone who decides. Sad news. I'm happy for them because they can focus on their own project now. Can't wait to see. Okay. Well, then that brings us to will Long War 2 work with WOTC? How to play it with WOTC. It is not ported to WOTC. Wait weeks to months or forever. No info. Is for the base game only. So play it by selecting the base game and on the launcher and making sure LW2 mod is active. Gosh, didn't know that. Looks like my WOTC playthrough has to wait then. Gosh, okay. Team Long War 2. I haven't played Long War 2, but from what I understand, WOTC's Firaxis take on this mod with more cool stuff like the Chosen added in. It certainly feels like a massive, highly polished mod. The game is the same as before, but with a ton more stuff and new awesome mechanics. Oh, and it has voiceovers by Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, and John Delancey. Wow, that's amazing. Sad, really, if you feel like Long War 2 mod is the only way you can play WOTC. Sad, really. What is your problem? You don't need a LW2 mod just to play War of the Chosen. Probably because LW2 replaced the whole core funky chess mechanics of XCOM2 and made it actual tactical and management game. Irony is funky chess needs less thinking than Teletubby script. Okay, so I want to try it once my current playthrough is done, but I don't know if it's compatible. LW2 has no plans for compatibility with WOTC. How long is WOTC? How long is this game? Start playing War of the Chosen. I'm hoping I'm not going too fast through it. I just got shot down by a UFO. I've cleared the first black site and fought the Warlock. It takes as long as you take in doing missions and progressing. It's not even an answer. It takes as long as it takes you. Again, the internet, so unhelpful sometimes. Yeah, you can just gun it for the end goal or try and do everything. In LW2, it's usually better to rush for Waterworld than to try and take every region. Hey, should I get WOTC now? I have only just bought the game. I played XCOM, Enemy Enemy One Known. WTC is just adding to the main game. It's not a separate thing. Or are the changes quite big? Does it make it harder? I mean, is it worth having a vanilla playthrough before? It's a bit harder. There's more to juggle and strategic flair. And the Chosen can make the tactical game pretty rough, depending on the difficulty level playing. XCOM 2 is super good, so it's not like playing that without WTC is going to be no fun. I went back after beating WTC, played another vanilla campaign, partly played the DLC missions, which I missed, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I would add, though, that WTC has loads of great stuff, both content and story-wise. 836 hours played. I'm still playing. Like, because you're not done the campaign yet? Single campaign takes maybe 50 hours or so. Not sure. It'll depend on your playstyle. Some people take ages to make a decision. I tend to be fairly quick about it. It's super replayable, though. It's not what people are asking. They're asking how long does it take to play through? Just like... Okay, length, replayability. I've around 70 hours in the base game, but admittedly never really finished it. Curious how many hours one can get from the game with WOTC. Recently got that. A lot of people mentioned mods greatly increase replayability, but other than LWT, which doesn't work with WOTC. Great. So my question was, can't really see anything that would enhance replayability. So what mods are good? ABA, CXs, creature mods, RPGO, myriads, plug for it. They're assorted mods that make the chosen a heck of a lot harder to deal with and play smarter. Recently passed 660 hours, so yeah. Playing the game again with new soldier classes alone. Huge boost? No. Oh my gosh, people. How come no one here has answered this question? Length of the solo or of the single campaign. Best XCOM 2. Well, so maybe I'll play through XCOM 2 War of the Chosen and then do whatever. What does? Why did I type what does? Does WOTC do? Never mind, I'm an idiot. Here's my latest mod compatibility master list. I've not included Spectrum only because I have not had time to play a modded version yet. If you have been playing it and want to PM me your mod list, I will update this list. Page not found. It's been deleted. Thanks, guy. Why wouldn't you keep that open for people? It's too many people trying to hack his computer. Peanut butter cookie, did you? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Well, all right, whatever, man. Workshop. Soldier customization. Fighters. What the frig, man?
You know what it.
I hate that so much. I looked up, like, why does Steam not load YouTube videos? And it was like, oh, just deactivate, like, graphic card utilization, advanced, whatever, in settings, and then they'll play. Not true. Watch on YouTube. Awesome. Wow, man. Copy link. Just pathetic.
Go! 敵はい任務遂行します。キル逃がさないこの
Okay, so
まま
this
に これで任
Clearly
務をスムーズに進められます。
isn't
当
her.
たれ！危なかったわ。話して。これで任務をスムーズに進められます。大丈夫。当たれ！キル！
Cool though,
補
actually.
足！無駄。投降しなさい。
Comments. This didn't work. Nice. Was looking for a KOF voice back earlier, so I appreciate your work. Would love a Terry one. See, we need it. This is cool. Of course, if they don't actually have the character, it's kind of moot. I'll forget. Terminators? Wow. One change note view. Release. Comments. Hey, would it be possible to make forearms, hands to be separate body part? I'm mixing a bunch of mods to create Arnie Nader. Like, what's this guy talking about? Long War II, War of the Chosen. How come it doesn't? Well, I suppose it does say WOTC. Maybe it's just silly of me to expect so much. Payday 2, Zeal. Before, betterer. Tried. Venturas. What is this? Oh, Drax. Marvel. Gamora. Minerva. Nope. Overwatch voice pack. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, for some people, that's the first thing they think of when they think of Overwatch. The big question is, why use that for this? You know, why not this image? Okay. There's only reason only that there's only reason to get this would be because they actually have the models. But if they don't have the models, what's the point? XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Sci-fi bodysuits. Oh, cool. Does that mean they can't wear armor, or is this the armor? Can't wait. There are new poses from a new pose pack I'm working on separately. Still working on it. Out of curiosity, other poses. Okay, my gosh. Nano suits, just what I want. Yeah, I know exactly, right? Hopefully this will guide you. Could you offer to have the suits be split into separate mods or at least the nano suit ones? I just don't really see any reason to have the MEs ones. Nice work. Any chance to get the body suits? One of the ladies of the TV series UFO. This should stop the bodysuit part spawning on Resistance Warrior. I'm not sure what that means. XCOM 2. Mass Effect Armory? Are these all guns? Oh, armor from Mass Effect? That looks cool, but like there needs to be a okay, there we go. Description. Description. Grunt, Shepherd. Shepherd, Grunt. Rex, Shepherd. Oh, these are all the. This is supposed to be some sort of dialogue. Shepherd, Grunt, Shepherd, Rex, Commander, Shepherd. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third. This thing's been a bit of a pet project of mine for a while. I started back. Okay, so all 7 armor types from ME3, Mass Effect 3 for male and female. Sentry, Kawashi. Colors. Oh, so much. It's overwhelming. Whoa, they cut a donut in half and shoved a bunch of cream in it. Too much. Too much. Almost like a piece of cake. But like more cake than a donut usually is. What's this? 1,000,000 colors. That's 1,000,000 colors of props customization configurable through XGame. Note, changing configs of this mod will break all the custom colors saved. 1,000,000 colors to all palettes takes 4 seconds of additional loading time, so don't get too crazy on adding num color per base. Suggesting for some reason WTC RW Better Warrior Anarchy Legacy tiers integration stops this mod from working out 277 mods. Me at least. I don't know. Maybe we don't need 1,000,000 colors. This is like pureed Fudgios. Oh my gosh. Photo booth. Oh my goodness. Thanks. Actually, that's kind of neat. N7 Crusader, Piranha shotguns, Valkyrie assault rifle. Cool. Now the big question to me is, these guns replace? I don't want to replace. I don't want to replace weapons. I want to add to them. Okay. What is this? Armor? Kind of cool. But I mean, does this replace the armor? Hopefully not. Does it add new armor? New armor available. Like that's cool. Even if you have to like research to get it. Korean voice. Hello everyone, long time no see. This voice mod is extracted from Korean movie Sumido. I use 75 voice samples, but a few lines are a little unpleasant because of movie sound. First of all, this 684 Special Force is established in 1968. Purpose was retaliation in North Korea's terror. All right, neat. Yeah, if I get a Korean guy, boom, slap the voice in there. How fun is that? Payday Mega Pack. Okay, so what is it? Nearly every single cop in SWAT uniform from Payday 2, which includes Beat Cop, FBI agent, Blue SWAT, Nice. Known issues. There's a seam running down the middle of some of the models. There's an issue with how the texture wrap around the model, so I'm not sure I can fix that. Only a few armor sets are currently tintable. I know the murky water uniforms aren't included. I might add those. Okay, you fixed that. Good job. Never mind. I figured that one out, but I'm keeping this here. Tell me if you find any more. No, there won't be a vanilla version of this. Change log. There you go. Good job. Yeah, I think this is fun. Can you imagine, like, all of your Marines look completely different? 87 gigabytes later. How big is this?
There's nothing that's truly real, that's meaning that's already established. So they believe that language spells will alter reality. Language spells will alter reality. And that's why Roger Scruton called this the nonsense machine. The nonsense machine. It's a linguistic emancipation from the real world and from real knowledge. How do you use words, language, to liberate yourself from God's creation, from the real world? And it means, because it's no longer a matter of reasoning with people, because there's no longer a shared. In order for there to be toleration in a society, you actually need a common discourse. Remember what toleration used to mean? It used to mean, that guy's an idiot, but I'm tolerating him. Right? What it now means is, every view and idea is equally valid. Except Christian view of reality.
Yes.
That cannot be.
Dad.
We will liberate ourselves from reality with language spells, and that means shouting and the politics of power. It doesn't mean civil discourse, because there is no foundation for a common discourse in radical relativism. Scruton says, no need to ask what the revolution means or what you might achieve by means of it. Nothing means anything. And that is the revolution, namely the machine to annihilate meaning. Creation is meaning, annihilate God's world. It's not just that because of our sin we are alienated from God, we are. But because of our sin, we seek to alienate God's world from him. That's the nature and character of sin. One very influential user of the nonsense machine is a radical Jewish lesbian feminist called Judith Butler. She wrote a very influential book in 1990 called Gender Trouble. Gender Trouble. Judith Butler. She writes in a very obscure way. You need to do that when you're an unbeliever to sound profound. But she believes, she teaches that man and woman, male and female, are mythical creations of language repetition. Mythical creations of language repetition. What most people in every culture through all of human history believed, that there is such a thing as a male and female, that is a real condition, is for Butler and those who follow her an imaginary formation. So you think that's a direct perception that you have, male and female, that's unquestionable. They say it's an illusion generated by language. Now notice immediately the reduction going on here. The new explainer for everything, the divinity concept, is that the human intellect's use of language, signs that they use and repeat, creates reality. And you notice how that
if you're listening to this, sorry, I have to pause this as I read a text.
Did create reality. In the beginning was the Word. And the
Oh, all right. Without hesitation, I rush to do heroic battle.
Oh, thank you.
The Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is an attempt to usurp the role
Need
of
a face
Jesus Christ
paint? No.
in creation, to recreate it by word. Judith Butler, quoting and in agreement with radical feminists like Monique Wittig, their ideas are now taught as facts in Western classrooms to small children, so let's not pass over it too quickly. This is what's going on right now in our culture. Okay, what you're seeing up there is a BC activist, Mr. Watcott. He has just been fined $55,000 by a BC court for misgendering somebody.
Disgusting.
Right, a mayor
Punitive.
dressing up as a woman and running
Rushing
for
someone.
political office. He referred to her with the wrong gender pronouns. He's just been fined $55,000 by a Canadian court. Here's another one. This is a BC man, a father. He just had I don't know whether you can see that, Canadian court, father found guilty of family violence for calling daughter a girl. 14-year-old girl. There's now a protection order out here against the father. He could be arrested if he misgenders his child that says she's a boy when she's in fact a girl. We're at the point where the CAS can take your children away from you. Let's say your child is at school and they say, your son is at school and they say, I'm a girl. I want to be a girl. Maybe 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever it is. If you do not support their desire through counseling and hormone therapy, you are at risk of your children being taken away from you for child abuse. Where were Christians? Where was the Christian mind when all this was going on? You see, part of the challenge of the conference like this is we have a tendency to look out there and say, what a terrible world. But actually, we were asleep at the wheel. And this is now what is taking place in our culture.
That's right.
There is no reason to divide up human bodies into male and female sexes, except that such a division suits the economic needs of heterosexuality. Notice the economic needs of heterosexuality, that's Marxism, and lends a naturalistic gloss to the institution of heterosexuality. A lesbian transcends the binary opposition between woman and man. A lesbian is neither a woman nor man. But further, a lesbian has no sex. She is beyond the categories of sex. One is not born female, one becomes female. But even more radically, one can, if one chooses, become neither male nor female, woman nor man. The BBC, the British Communist Broadcasting Corporation, the British, whatever it's called now, corporation, has just produced a documentary that's being used in schools across the United Kingdom.
You really want to use this?
Tells children that there are 60 gender identities. 60. So this is saturating popular culture. You can see the Marxist root of that. If you understand anything about Marxism, my time is rapidly disappearing, so I won't digress. But the radical argument here is that the very linguistic use of the terms male and female is productive of a culture that privileges heterosexuality, endorses marriage and family, and that's oppression. And we need liberation from that oppression. That is why there is a conflict right now in Canada over the use of pronouns, and a non-Christian like Jordan Peterson is in such hot water. That's why there's a cultural conflict over pronouns. On this view, sex is simply a political and cultural interpretation of the body. The body is just a discontinuous set of attributes. You impose sex on it by the use of language. You impose an artificial unity on it. Butler actually went so far as to say, is there a physical body prior to the perceptually perceived body? An impossible question to decide. She has influenced a whole generation of social theorists. And this is being taught to your children if they're in a public school, possibly even if they're in a Christian school.
Enemy within, right? That was the worst.
This is called deconstruction. It seems like nonsense. And it is nonsense, but it's sophisticated gibberish. And people think, oh, am I missing something here? That sounds really deep. That is deep. It's gibberish. It's a nonsense machine. Words are magic and remake reality. And the goal, says Judith Butler and Wittig, is to overthrow the entire discourse on sex, indeed to overthrow the very grammar that institutes gender. That's going to be a problem for the French. Or fictive sex as an essential attribute of humans and objects alike. So think about that. Here's what you've got. You take the dust, listen to my language, you take the dust of your desires, the idol of your organless body, and you breathe life into it by a linguistic incantation. They borrow the language of, she says this politically, she said this, by the way, she said 30 years ago. The loss of gender norms would have the effect of proliferating gender configurations, destabilizing substantive identity, and depriving the naturalizing narratives of compulsory heterosexuality of their central protagonists, man and woman. She said that 30 years ago. Is an abstract playwright, Antonin Artaud. When you have made him without body, when you will have made him a body without organs, then you will have delivered him from all his automatic reactions and restored him to his true freedom.
Oh my God.
Scruton puts it this
Too
way.
deep.
So, sorry, let me just say what Butler's conclusion here is: a reconsideration of the figure of the body as mute prior to culture awaiting signification. That's what we need, she says. The body tells you nothing. It means nothing. It's not really real. It is nothing until culture gives it a significance. Scruton says the resulting nonsense, although it cannot be easily deciphered intellectually, can be deciphered politically. It is directed nonsense, and it is directed at the enemy. We are to discard the old hierarchies, the binary structures, the trees of the bourgeoisie family and the capitalist machine, and reform ourselves as grassroots communities of underground across the United Kingdom, which tells children that there are 60 gender identities. 60. So this is saturating popular culture. You can see the Marxist root of that. If you understand anything about Marxism, my time is rapidly disappearing, so I won't digress. But the radical argument here is that the very linguistic use of the terms male and female is productive of a culture that privileges heterosexuality, endorses marriage and family, and that's oppression. And we need liberation from that oppression. That is why there is a conflict right now in Canada over the use of pronouns, and a non-Christian like Jordan Peterson is in such hot water. That's why there's a cultural conflict over pronouns. On this view, sex is simply a political and cultural interpretation of the body. The body is just a discontinuous set of attributes. You impose sex on it by the use of language. You impose an artificial unity on it. Butler actually went so far as to say, is there a physical body prior to the perceptually perceived body? An impossible question to decide. She has influenced a whole generation of social theorists. And this is being taught to your children if they're in a public school, possibly even if they're in a Christian school.
Maybe I should just like
called deconstruction. It seems like nonsense. And it is
adding this stuff in, seeing if the games break.
And people think, oh, am I missing something here? That sounds really deep. That is deep. It's gibberish. It's a nonsense machine. Words are magic and remake reality. And the goal, says Judith Butler and Wittig, is to overthrow the entire discourse on sex, indeed to overthrow the very grammar that institutes gender. That's going to be a problem for the French. Or fictive sex as an essential attribute of humans and objects alike. So think about that. Here's what you've got. You take the dust, listen to my language, you take the dust of your desires, the idol of your organless body, and you breathe life into it by a linguistic incantation. They borrow the language of, she says this politically, she said this, by the way, she said 30 years ago. The loss of gender norms would have the effect of proliferating gender configurations, destabilizing substantive identity, and depriving the naturalizing narratives of compulsory heterosexuality of their central protagonists, man and woman. She said that 30 years ago. Is an abstract playwright, Antonin Artaud. When you have made him without body, when you will have made him a body without organs, then you will have delivered him from all his automatic reactions and restored him to his true freedom. Scruton puts it this way. So, sorry, let me just say what Butler's conclusion here is: a reconsideration of the figure of the body as mute prior to culture awaiting signification. That's what we need, she says. The body tells you nothing. It means nothing. It's not really real. It is nothing until culture gives it a significance. Scruton says the resulting nonsense, although it cannot be easily deciphered intellectually, can be deciphered politically. It is directed nonsense, and it is directed at the enemy. We are to discard the old hierarchies, the binary structures, the trees of the bourgeoisie family and the capitalist machine, and reform ourselves as grassroots communities of underground activists. The assault is aimed primarily at the language through which the enemy lays claim to the world. So let me wrap this up in 2 minutes, because I know we're slightly over time here. I hope you realize now, at least with that illustration, that there is a Christian view of everything. If you cannot, in a culture, hang on to the notion of man and woman, what can you hang on to? That's true. There is a Christian view of everything, and developing a Christian mind is part of the task that God has given to his people. It's been neglected, and now we're paying the cultural price for it. We are. We have to acknowledge as Christians that it is partly our fault. It's partly our fault. Now, I know it feels like it happened in 10 years. But you know, I was saying things like this 12 years ago, and Christian leaders in Canada were calling me an extremist and a hysteric.
Yep.
For talking about these things.
I haven't got a clue.
And now we are where we are. And there were people long before me, like Harry Blameyer, who was talking about these potential. He couldn't have even imagined what we're going through now, actually. He just recognized that the Christian mind had been lost. Forging truly Christian thinking about everything is a fundamental part of the mission assigned to us in God's covenant. It's part of the cultural mandate that's never been abrogated to rule and subdue, to have dominion. Scripture tells us all of reality is ordered and structured in life dependence on the Word of God, and that is the framework for Christian thought and action. Nothing exists of itself or for itself. And this confession is at the foundation of our faith. We touched on it yesterday. For from him and through him and to him are all things. This truth implies that as creatures of God, we're at home in God's creation, and our historical task is to become and make willing citizens of the kingdom of God as we turn creation into a God-glorifying culture. And that involves every aspect of your life and being. That includes your body. The body is not for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. God raised up the Lord and will also raise us up by his power. Don't you know that your bodies are part of Christ's body? Our entire earthly existence must become members of Christ, not just the soul. The soul is not the real part of you. The language of soul in Scripture is just a description of the center of your being. The heart, the Bible always uses that term interchangeably almost. You're not divided up into bits, and this bit's really important and this bit's not important. That would make a nonsense of the incarnation and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. We're an integral unity, and we belong, body and soul, the totality of our life with all our heart. In everything that we do, in all our hopes, our goals, our past, present, and future, they belong to Christ and his covenant. And this is why Paul writes in a manner that rebukes and brings into judgment the humanistic culture around him, which hates and denies the body, and challenges Christians to forge a Christian mind. He says this: therefore, brothers, by the
Long War 2, and by extension Long War The Chosen beta, are total overhauls of the base game mechanics, the tactical layer and strategic layer, and the way the games operate on a basic level are but both mods add fundamental new systems that completely change how the game is played, making it much more complex, having a much wider range of difficulty. Playing smart is very much rewarded. Playing dumb is. If I say playing dumb is not, he might get offended.
The mercies of God, I urge you to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This, notice, is your, what's the word? Spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. He said that to a culture of people, new converts, who'd been shaped by paganism. By the renewal of your minds. Now, we may feel ill-equipped at this cultural moment to stand for the truth, to confront the culture and to redirect it. But we will only find ourselves powerless if we surrender the word of God.
Rangers gain implacable. That's a squatty skill in the scout path with Slink Master. 50% detection, radius reduction skill. Taking its normal place. Rangers have an increased survival rate in the first few months, and if spec'd in the stealth tree, can serve as substitute reapers. Grenadiers gain suppression as a squatty skill in the heavy gunner path with hollow targeting. Moving down a rank in a cone of fire. And AOE suppression ability taking its old place for WOTC cone of fire gains a higher hit chance for the reaction shot if an enemy moves. Only uses mod on new playthroughs as the game will not accommodate changes to squatty levels. Well, I mean, if it's a mod, it's probably making the game better. Right? Discussion. What are people saying? Very useful reply, that one guy. Oh, Cerberus Armory. Okay. There's gonna be so much stuff I won't even know it's vanilla. So I don't know how helpful it was to be going through and putting this in a text like this. I'm just gonna be going and pressing all these clicks or these things again. Oh my gosh, who the heck are these people? Civil Warrior Squad. Cool. Whoa. All time. Gee whiz, man. Why would I want the stuff that just came on the last week? Oh, then you get stuff like this. Kind of fun. So many. That'd be awesome. Have a guy. Oh! Change his name to the Chief. This. 30 props. I wonder if you can go in and delete some of this stuff. I think today might have been a complete exercise in futility. Where are all the tattoos they're talking about? Oh, cool. All right, let's get back to listening.
And rely on our own understanding and start to hybridize and synthesize the Word of God and the gospel with the world, then it is over until our culture could be recovered by a missionary effort from some other part of the world. The late Christian Canadian philosopher Bernie Zylstra, he said this. He looks a bit like Abraham Lincoln, but he said this: we have lost the strength of the word, he says, because of a reliance on visions foreign to the scriptures. All these foreign visions generally have the same effect. The redemption of Jesus Christ is severed from the given condition of life in this world, the Father's good creation. Hence our hesitation in understanding the Bible's kingdom vision. That this is our Father's world claimed by the new Lord Jesus Christ. Our task is to regain the biblical vision. That's the starting point for a confrontation with culture. Andrew, got some time for a bit of Q&A, I think.
Sorry, I just had to type an email to someone and that I met during a stream who wanted to talk to me about God. That's so awesome. Should I play XCOM 2 before War of the Chosen? I played XCOM 2 when it first came out. I'd say it's worth playing more than once, and the stories do vary. There are some similarities, but I'd definitely play the main game first. Your friends should be ignored. Play the base game first. The story's well worth it, as is the learning experience. If you jump right into... Okay. Pros. Getting the most playtime out of the money spent buying the game. Dude, when you buy a game on Steam for like 15 bucks, you don't got to worry about that during a Steam sale. Cons, none at all. Except you're wasting so much valuable time. Cons, you'll kiss 1,000 hours of your life goodbye before you notice it. Boom! Give award. I wish. That is what it takes to be a commander. Or you can play with a DLC on and learn to get good with all the added complexities already there. Or you can just enjoy a quick normal run through before you rage quit out of the tougher difficulties. Played XCOM 1, the Chosen Encounters is a heck of a learning curve. That said, go WOTC with previous DLC activated. Just don't Iron Man it if it's your first XCOM run ever. Oh, hey. Boom. Did it work? I don't think it did. I don't know how Reddit works. For them young whippersnappers. Hmm. Sounds like quite a topic of discussion. There we go. The Kotaku review there. If you've never played XCOM 2, here's my advice. Skip the vanilla version and start by playing the new expansion, War of the Chosen. It's the best 2K's XCOM series has ever been. War of the Chosen is a massive expansion, but it's not quite a whole new game. Rather, it goes over XCOM 2 with a fine-tooth comb, hunting for might-sized specks of story to blow up so big that you'll never forget them. If you've played XCOM 2 before, get ready for a familiar ride that picks the perfect moment to swerve left when you were expecting to go right. And it's dynamic. procedurally generated gameplay let me craft my own compelling dramas. The story of Elizabeth, Thunder, Martine, and Philippe Lightning Garcia is one of tragedy and triumph, of premature endings and new beginnings, of people profoundly impacting each other, even after cruel circumstances force them apart. It's one of my favorite tales I've experienced in a game this year, and it would have never happened had XCOM 2 War of the Chosen not crapped out an extremely ugly in-game poster. Thunder and Lightning were the first of my characters to bond in XCOM 2's new War of the Chosen expansion, which overhauls the base game with new systems like factions to collaborate with persistent chosen enemies and bonds between your squad mates. However, it still maintains the base game's overall structure, in which you assemble a ragtag band of rebels to slowly disarm your alien overlord's secret avatar project via a series of turn-based guerrilla skirmishes. As ever, your soldiers can and will die permanently unless you save scum your way through every encounter. But that's the wrong way to play XCOM. When I talk about the bond between Thunder and Lightning, I'm referring to one of the War of the Chosen's most touted new systems. Some characters, after spending enough time together in battle or during side missions, can become battle BFFs, granting them new powers like the ability to give an additional action, the chance to move, attack, or use a skill again during a turn to their bondmate. But they have to be together, or else these powers aren't an option. This means it's to your advantage to cram bondmates into XCOM 2's small 4 to 6 character squads in many but not all situations. But that description doesn't really paint the full picture. Bonds, you see, are also a diabolical trap because they're one of the many new ways of war that Chosen gets you to care about your people. If you're an XCOM fan, you know by now that traditionally care has been a role that only leads to sadness. It's true, man. What I used to do, I would customize my characters and give them names of the people I knew, best friends, family, whatever. Oh, it was so fun. It takes to the next, like when a guy showed up and he had brown hair, I'd be like, okay, who do I know has brown hair there? You know, boom. Okay. Thunder and Lightning first bonded. The game asked me if I wanted to make a poster of them, something War the Chosen lets you do to commemorate and share memorable moments like new bonds, hard-fought victories, or even deaths. You can customize poster by posing characters as you please, picking environments, and adding text and filters. I like randomizing them to see what the game's algorithm come up with. They came up with this. It was so deliciously cheesy that I decided to run with it. I manually changed the characters' nicknames to Thunder and Lightning, only to realize that it totally worked. Thunder was a deafening terror, her a shotgun, a boisterous herald of imminent extraterrestrial doom. Lightning, meanwhile, preferred to quietly ply his trade from afar, but his sniper shots popped the heads of human and alien hybrid advent soldiers in a flash. They never knew what hit them. Even the character's brief mid-battle dialogue barks fit. Thunder was fierce and impatient, serious as a heart attack. Lightning, on the other hand, didn't say a lot, possessed by an almost disarming calm. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. No, lightning. Okay, this is a beautiful story. EMTOH. So, long story short, it's so cool. Oh, look, see? More than new environment types, enemies, character classes, abilities, or any of that typical expansion stuff, all of which I should add. War of the Chosen also does quite nicely. That's what makes this expansion so great. Add to that the fact that resistance factions open up all sorts of new routes through the game. You don't just have to follow a particular build order in your base and obsessively monitor the Avatar project anymore. And it's likely that your stories will be very different from mine. There's a variety for days. The flip side of this is that adding more layers rather than stripping some away also accentuates some of XCOM2's flaws. Once you make it past the game's opening, the overworld map becomes cluttered with things to do, and new events pop up multiple times per in-game day on the ground. Meanwhile, the game's tension remains palpable for longer than it did in the base game, but your characters still ultimately become mega bad bums capable of dispatching aliens without breaking a sweat about halfway through. The difference this time is that once you've taken out the Chosen, you've already dealt with your biggest threat. The remainder of the game is pretty anticlimactic after that. War of the Chosen is also hodgepodge in terms of tone and thematics. At this point, it's humans versus aliens versus zombies versus the Chosen, who are essentially orcs from Shadow of Mordor. And you can make soldiers that are literally clowns. One of the XCOM series' greatest strengths is the menace that accompanies each encounter, where you never know what new alien horror lurks around each corner. The potential zaniness of this one detracts from that. In addition, the Chosen are fairly human, like in their looks and mannerisms, which makes them distinctly less frightening than alien monstrosities from the great beyond. In the face of the brilliant systems the War Chosen adds, though, those things are nitpicks. I'm far more interested in War of the Chosen. I was XCOM 2, and I thought XCOM 2 was fantastic. All right, everybody. I'm going to get ready to go. It was interesting and fascinating. So much going on. Too much, honestly. Too much. Sent this off, so that's good. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go play board games with some friends. God bless you all. Have a great day.